with myself, Gordon Watt, and Dr. Keith Fairclaw. And we'll be going live on this TikTok right here. Invite should be being sent out. And we're gonna see today's topic, guys, is decoding your limiting beliefs. The it's basically a silent saboteurs of success. And what we'll be going over today, let's see, Dr. Keith Fairclaw is coming in right now. Should be coming in. And some of the hot points might be you might be feeling paralyzed in your business and your weight gain goals, you're lifting weights, you have self-doubt in pursuing goals. And then there's always that whisper in the back of your head, am I really good enough? Or can I even do it? Today we're going to go over those things that Doc's going to explain so that you don't miss out on opportunities because of that inner hesitation that a lot of people go through, and it's really sabotaging your own life and your own dreams. Last week we talked about dreams and how you abandon your dreams. Today we're going to get over that, and Doc's got a special one for you. Doc, introduce yourself. Let's see how we got going on, and see if you have any questions. Head on to my Facebook page, Boundaries and Brotherhood. Go to YouTube, Boundaries and Brotherhood, and get your questions answered live. People like that stuff. All right, Doc, go ahead.
All right. So, guys, welcome. Today, like Gordon said, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs. A lot of times people call it self-sabotage, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. But honestly, a lot of where you are in your life right now is tied in to a self-made prison. You don't know it. You weren't aware of it, but we make our own prisons, whether by adopting beliefs that are not ours or believing things that are not true. And then we build our whole life around these lies. And then we wonder why we can't go as far as we want to go. We can't do the things we want to do. We can't have the life we want to have, the money we want to have, the business, the marriage, that we can't have it. And we blame all these other things. But unfortunately, we are the ones that actually created that prison. So today we're going to talk about how to understand what our limiting beliefs are. I understand what self-sabotage is, because self-sabotage actually isn't self-sabotage at all. And we'll get into that. And we're going to talk about how you can start breaking through that so you can start actually creating new beliefs, going above and beyond, and establishing the life and getting the life that you actually want.
Nice. So basically, after this whole thing, guys, you're going to have a dream outcome of identifying those core limiting beliefs in this short amount of time. You're going to develop some sort of actionable strategies, or join our workshop. You can head on to our assessment at boundariesandbrotherhood.com to figure out where you stand with us. And you're going to be able to lock hidden potential and find the self-confidence that you already was born with. You just lost it somewhere along the way. Doc, where do these beliefs come from?
All right. So we'll talk about that. So our beliefs come from the first 10 years of our life. We establish how we understand the world, how we understand others, and how we understand ourselves in the first 10 years of our life. And so within that time, being that we're children, you don't know essentially what's right and what's wrong. You don't understand how generalizing some things can be detrimental to where the nuance is necessary. You don't understand that a lot of the limitations you're picking up are from your parents. You being timid, being scared, or being angry, or being abusive, or whatever it is, you're picking it up vicariously from your parents. Some of us are parents right now, and we're teaching our children things unknowingly. We might be teaching them that they don't matter, or they have to work for approval or something, right? We could be teaching them things like that. And so in those first 10 years, when you're trying to understand the world and your brain is so malleable, and you have all your neurons and everything just firing, because when we're younger, we have way more neurons, especially babies. And the reason for that is because we're trying to get as much information in to understand the world as possible. And so we're creating all these patterns all at the same time. How do I interact with mom? How do I interact with dad? How do I interact with my siblings, my friends, my teacher, society? And then we go based off of external validation. This is really important, y'all. Take notes on this right here. We build our beliefs based off of external validation in the beginning, because otherwise we don't know any different. We don't have any other frame of reference.
Right.
And so we need external validation. Oh, when I speak up, I'm celebrated, so I'm going to speak up more. Oh, when I speak up, I'm said I had ADHD and I talk too much. I need to sit down and be quiet in the corner. Oh, it's bad for me to do that. And so we are continuously looking for external validation between the years of 0 and 10 to understand how to operate in the world. And by the time you hit 10 years old, 95% of how we're going to be is established the rest of our life.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Oh, as joined added to the stream, what happened to Doc? Doc just got cut off right there. But
yeah,
that makes a whole lot of sense, because even like for my kids right now, when you start measuring the kids, like you can see their behaviors right now at 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Doc was saying, by the time you're 10, it's already solidified. So whatever dreams, beliefs, and additives I got going into them, it's the same, and it exponentiates as an adult, right? Because if you don't, like, if I'll give you a perfect example. In fact, we were just talking about right before we came on the show about that gym that with Unkins there. He pushes you to a limit that you didn't believe you could do it, because he strains that body, he strains that limiting beliefs, and he pushes to overcome anything else that you might have going on in your life. Because a lot of times your belief might be saying that I can't get it done. When you have somebody like me, Doc, the community, the brotherhood, and everything pushes to a level where you never seen before, it's natural to get scared and shift back. But when you hit that threshold and you move forward, guess what happens, guys? Confidence goes through the freaking roof, because you've just found out that you can do it. And that's what Doc and me do this channel for, because a lot of times the limiting beliefs is what's holding you back, and you blame everything else except for where it came from and how you challenged it. Because Doc hit it on the head last week, or even just a few minutes ago. They are trauma beliefs from your parents or something that you've seen to seek for validation and attention that you did not even know about, because you didn't have the capacity to do it, right? Yes. Doc, so how in the world, how do you kind of like change that whisper of doubt when you're going through this as an adult? Because most of us are in that stage right now.
Well, I think the first thing is first, you have to face things for what they are. Don't see them for worse than what they are. See it for what it is. So, and what I mean by that is when you have that doubt, like, oh man, you can't do that, oh, that's going to be too hard. Oh man, no, only certain people can do this and that. You have to stop and ask yourself the question, like, is this even me talking? What makes you think that I can't do that? And start asking yourself good questions, because too often we ask ourselves pretty bad questions. We ask ourselves questions to reaffirm our limiting belief. I mean, who am I to do that? I don't even have the credentials. I don't have the pedigree. I don't have the this. I don't have the that. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not wise enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this. And then all you do is reaffirm that negative thought in your own head that's not even yours. So first things first, just slow it down and start asking yourself some better questions. But I would even say, Gordon, even before we start getting to that point, I think it's important for us to understand, what those limiting beliefs are, right? Again, we're in a society where, you hear about self-sabotage. And I'm here to tell you, such a thing does not exist. There is no. I was just about to say, yep. Right. And the reason why I say that is because it's really about if they're called limiting beliefs for a reason, right? You have created this section inside of you where your brain says we cannot go outside of that. We can't go too high, because if we do, we're going to bring it back. We can't go too low, because if we do, we're going to bring it back up, right? Your body loves homeostasis. It loves when things stay nice and even. And so it's not a matter of, I'm sabotaging myself. What it is I'm trying to go beyond this belief. And I don't really believe I can go beyond it. I'm just really energetic today. I had a lot of caffeine today. I was around a lot of great people today. I went to a conference. I went to this. I went to that. And I'm just riding high on this energy. But your brain's like, yeah, don't worry. We'll bring you back down. You'll get away from the people. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. Give it 3 weeks. Yep, now we're right back to where we are. You still can't believe we're doing anything. We start making up excuses as to why it can't be done or why it's too hard or all these things like that. And this is just what happens, right? So You have to understand that you cannot go beyond what you believe unless you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and really testing that, right? And kind of like Gordon was saying, even having people that will force you out of your comfort zone, where you're forced to, okay, I have to believe something else because either I'm going to sit here and drown or I'm going to break through. And so it's really important for us to understand that when it comes to our beliefs, you cannot go beyond what you believe. So if you want more, if you want a better marriage, if you want a better life, you want more money, you want whatever, you literally have to believe, expand your belief so that it encompasses the level that you're at. Because people can get stuck at any level. You can get stuck at $100, $1,000, $10,000, and are wondering, like, I'm working, I'm doing all this stuff. Yeah, but you don't believe you can go beyond that. You don't believe you can make more than $10,000 a month. You don't believe you can have a great marriage. You believe that this is just all it's going to be. And so essentially you have to understand that your limiting beliefs, before you can start challenging them, you have to understand the concept that you cannot go beyond them. And that's why a lot of you guys, you tried all this, you tried this program, you tried that program, you read this book, you read that book, you watched this video, you've done all these things, you've taken this supplement and that supplement, and you're in the exact same spot. And it's not because these things don't necessarily work. Some of them are trash, but some of them, a lot of them work, right? I mean, it's just true. Some of them are garbage.
It's true,
right?
Yeah.
But
it's true.
Because you can't go beyond your belief. There's people, I'll give you an example. Tony Robbins, we know he has a track record of success. Dr. Rick Thomas has a track record of success. And a lot of other people like them in that realm of an arena have a tremendous success. Myron Golden, I think there's another guy he works with,
Golden,
stuff like that. There are people that enter their programs. There are people that will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and still not get success. From these people who have been having success for years. It's not because the program doesn't work. It's because you cannot go beyond your limiting belief. So you have to first recognize, like, shoot, this is the belief. I don't think that I can make $100,000 a year, right? And then you start breaking that down. And it goes back to that question, right, Gordon, you were saying this. And now caught up. Now we start asking the question, oh, well, man, yeah, you can't really make that. That's only for da-da-da-da. Then you start saying, well, who said? Like, who decided that? Who said I can't make that level of money? Who said I can't have that life? Who said I can't have that marriage? Who determined that? Oh, well, no one else in your family has. No one else in your family graduated. So what makes you think you're any different? Well, I'm not them. That's what's different. I'm not them. I'm not my father. I'm not my mother. I'm not my brother. I'm not these people. I'm not my grandfather. And so with all that being said, that's when you start asking yourself better questions. When you start asking yourself better questions, you're going to start getting better answers. When you start getting better answers, you can start making a move on the what's necessary in order to start breaking out of these limiting beliefs and start creating new ones. I can make over $100,000 a year. I can have a healthy marriage. I can have a healthy body and lose all this weight. And so that's the first step, right? That is the first step as far as breaking those limiting beliefs.
I mean, for me, the way I look at it, right, is it's going to be like this, right? A lot of people, their fear is being incompetent, or despite whatever else going on, they feel like they don't want to be a failure, so they don't even shoot their shot. It's like trying to get your other half, or trying to get your job promotion, try to get it. You got to shoot your shot and not be afraid of it, because if you reframe it in your mind, you're already stuck in that situation that you're in right now. What have you got to lose? You have everything to gain and everything to learn from it. Right? Yeah. Because if you don't learn from it, right, you internalize these setbacks as that's how it's going to be, right? So if you internalize these setbacks as that's how it's going to be, you'll never go forward from it. I'll give you a perfect example. When I came out of prison after doing 12 years, and they said, do not get your job on the Las Vegas Strip, and then some of these guys that are on here right now can attest to, they still kind of figure out how I got my job. I shot my shot. I did my interviews. I did everything while I was still on my ankle bracelet, and I couldn't even talk to people yet, right? I still shot my shot because I reframed it. Like, nobody's going to tell me anything because I have nothing to lose already, right? I have everything to gain and learn. And guess what? Up to the point of last year until I got hurt, I still did that, and I got better and better. And I just used that reframe of everything else so I can change. And I used it for my relationship with my kids, as being a father, as being a husband, and being a business consultant. I mean, some of the things docs see me do, is just wild out there because I don't like to get stuck. In fact, I had somebody the other day tell me like, Gordon, you're close to 60 years old and you're way ahead of this stuff than all these young guys. I said, because I got to keep moving. If I'm not keep moving and I keep limiting myself, what's that going to show to the people I help, to my kids, to my wife, to even the people that's on this channel right now? It shows that you can push and you're going to push even more, because if you're stuck and you're looking for validation, outside validation to change your beliefs, we need to talk. And that's why you're going to go. I want you to head on over to assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com to find out where you stand. And guys, it's a free assessment. Usually costs money to get that. So we can see where categorized you can get in so that we can help you out. Because 2 weeks ago, we helped somebody not go through certain things. This week, we helped somebody not get to not put themselves in a situation where they're finding purpose right now. You know, I get calls, text messages, everything, keep going. And that's when you know you're doing something right. Doc, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. What kind of signs do people go through that will help understand why they're like that?
Well, signs that people go through?
Yes.
I guess symptoms of having limiting beliefs.
Yes.
Okay.
That'll work. Yeah.
All right. Well, first, shout out to my friend Mika. I saw, feelings follow our focus. That's a very, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your energy flows.
Yes. Yep. But good. That's a good one. I'm going to use that one.
I didn't make it up, so but everyone's free to use it.
We're trademarked, I think.
So the symptoms of a limiting belief, right? How do you know you have a limiting belief? Yes. I think the biggest symptom is when the answer is very clear, but you're still not moving forward.
Ooh.
I think that's the easiest thing to look for. So for instance, for me, for example, at one point in time, I was like, oh man, I'm struggling with business, struggling getting clients and things like that. And they said, oh, you just got to go network. All right. Just got to go network. And simple answer, right? Simple answer. But I wasn't doing it. Why wasn't I doing it? And I mean, this is a struggle. This was like for 2 weeks, I was struggling with this. I'm like, why am I not just reaching out to people? It's simple. I talk to people all the time. I love talking to people. Why am I struggling so much just to go on network? Well, because I had a limiting belief. The limiting belief was no matter how much effort you put forth, it's not going to make a difference. I learned this when I was younger and other things, right? And so that was a limiting belief. But the signal was, it's a simple thing to do. Why aren't you doing it? Well, because I didn't believe that it was going to provide any type of value. I wasn't going to get anything from it. I was going to waste my time, waste my energy, and be in the same place I was before. And so once I confronted that limiting belief and was like, well, you never know until you try, right? So, and again, instead of asking questions of how it won't work, it was like, oh, well, you just got to get out there. And I started doing it. I started linking up with people. Some things were fruitful. Some things weren't fruitful. Other things blew up.
It happens.
Because I was able to link up with one person through networking and breaking through my limiting belief. Guess what? Now I was able to link through them, get in touch with this person, that person, this speaking engagement, that speaking engagement, this opportunity, that opportunity. Heck, I even have an opportunity I'm speaking at on a panel next week just because of that, right? So I would say though, but as far as that's concerned, that's probably the easiest one, guys. Like you look at it and it's like, this is so simple. It is so simple to do the thing I need to study, to do the strategies that are being taught, to start working out, whatever. It's so simple. But what is it? There's some limiting belief there. And then I always teach my clients, you always look in the gap, right? That's where your limiting belief lives. It lives in the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Look in the gap. What is that thing that's holding you back? Because it's easy to lose weight. It's easy to make build muscle. It's easy to make money. It's easy to fix your marriage. Like these things are easy, or I should say, let me rephrase that. There may not be easy, right? Someone's probably like, Keith, clearly you have not been a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? Like, right? It's simple, right? The things are simple. They're not easy. But the process is simple. Okay, well, if I want to be a bodybuilder, I got to make sure I get my macros in. I got to make sure I'm working out twice a day. I got to make sure I'm doing, like, the plan's already there. Like, it's not rocket science. To fix your marriage, same thing. To make more money, same thing. Like, it's been done. The blueprint's there. But there's something in the middle, something in the gap that's keeping you from doing that. And so the moment you recognize that, the moment you see that, man, this is so, it's simple to do. I have all the resources, all the skill, all the talent, all the ability, and I'm still not doing it. Look in the gap. What limiting belief is keeping you from doing the thing that you know you need to do? And once you identify that and you start attacking that, you start blowing the doors off of everything, and you're going to start excelling exceedingly.
Yeah, I like what your friend said, Mika. Mika
yeah.
just said, feelings follow our focus. Our focus changes your behavior changes your goals, and your goals change your path. Right? Because we'll build off on that one, because that's a good one, Mika. Because here's another one. He goes, change the recipe if it doesn't work. Yes, if your cookies is not getting tasty, you got to do something about it, because it's going to be something that's going to be work. It's like for anybody else. It's like Doc said, right? There's something in the catechism that when you stuck in that between two walls, you're either going to climb, you're going to do something about it, you're going to sink back down at the bottom. At that point in time in your life, you got to make a decision. Because take it from me, when you're sitting on an empty rack in a hole, or you're looking at all the screwed up things you did in your past, and you find out you got to do something different, you're either going to take some sort of action, you're going to change where it stemmed from, where you're going to build it up from, and how you're going to move forward, because the chance will come again. Now, Boundaries and Brotherhood is there to help you move in that direction, because the insights I have is real life. What Doc brings to the table is from a therapeutic professional side, but this is all coaching. But if you want to work with him, he is available. But when you look at the times in your life when you had experiences, if you had experiences and you didn't learn from them, or you had experiences and you didn't do something about it, because experiences add layers to your limiting beliefs, good or bad, right? Whether you had to be, like, I'll give an example. You can have two postal workers. One is afraid of dogs because he got bit as a young kid. One used to have a dog and grew up with it. Which belief do you want to have, and which action happens? He's going to go deliver the mail. He's going to go to the mailbox. Dog runs up to him. One is going to be scared. One is going to pet the dog. Which one do you want to be? Because those limiting beliefs is what can either make or break you. And if you have bad ones, this is how you can break them. Reframe everything with what you have, with the values you provide, and challenge it. Last week, I did something on the board that people was like, holy smokes, what the hell was that? This is where you can shift your mindset, your adjustment, and create emotional growth within yourself, because you have the tools. You just need people in your corner to push you in the right direction. And that's what Doc's for, not me. It's not me, it's Doc. No, but so let me ask you this, Doc. When you have an outcome that you want to, or a limiting belief that you're scared of, fear of being exposed, and your validation to accept for praise, like say your dad you're looking for validation from your dad playing sports and all this good stuff that's happening. How does it affect you as an adult?
Yeah, unfortunately, you stay in like learning mode. Yeah, if I could put it in that way, because you're always looking for someone to say that what you're doing is the right thing. Like, this is the right thing to do.
That's
right.
Deep.
So it's not just about feeling good, but it's also about almost like having direction, that external validation, like I'm doing the right thing. So if I give my wife, Valentine's Day just passed, if I give my wife flowers and candy and take her out, I'm looking for a reaction to say that, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. Like this is working. Right. And so it's something that we need to switch out of that, though. It's good to learn when we're younger, right? Especially when you have a good example. But eventually, the student's supposed to become the teacher, right? We're supposed to, go on and master things and understand. That's where the nuances come. And so when it comes to that, we don't switch out of that. Like whereas as teachers, we're supposed to be putting it back on the kids or the students or whoever it is. Parents just put it back on the kids so they can build that internal agency, that internal drive, where it's not like, oh, just look for me to just say, hey, great job. But how do you think you did? Is that what you wanted to do? Is that how you wanted the game to go? What are you willing to do to make it different? Now I'm putting it back on you. Now it's not about what I think. It's not about what I feel as the adult. It's on the kid. Hey, don't look for external validation anymore. You understand the game. You understand how to operate with people. You understand relationships. You get that stuff now. Kids get that stuff very, very, very early. So they
get it fast now.
We're talking with kids like when they're like 4, 5,
Oh yeah.
And give them that, and of course, within reason, right? We're not going to say, correct, hey, do you want to go and, smoke or not? Like, obviously we're not doing that. Kids' brains are still developing, but, the things that are within their area of control, their sphere of influence, that is where we should, hey, this toy, you got a lot of toys. Hey, I'm sorry, but we got to start getting rid of some, but I want to give you the option to pick what you want to get rid of. So a long story short, I want to make sure I'm staying on topic, and because I know the more I go, I might go off topic. But
this is Doc. This is why we love Doc.
Well, but so long story short, when it comes to that external validation, we have to recognize that it was there for a purpose. We no longer need that anymore. Like, we're adults now. We got it. We got the base programming. Now I don't need someone to tell me if I'm good enough. Yeah.
Rudy was about external validation. He didn't learn to overcome winning as he became an alcoholic after his success in football. We need to understand our value as human beings versus human doings. This man is in deep thought. This man is guys. If you don't know Mika Kardovan, explain who he is, because I can tell just from he sat down and thought about a lot of things.
Mika's a fellow therapist. We used to work together.
There you go. See,
in the schools, deep thinker. Beautiful. Absolutely. And if anyone can see, I don't know if they can see the chat, Gordon, but yeah, external validation. In the movie, I'm guessing this is the movie Rudy, right? If you ever seen Rudy with goes to Notre Dame, walk on, finally gets a tackle at the end. If you didn't see it, I was ruined it for you. But but that feeling of being enough, right? And using Notre Dame as the pinnacle. Like, I got on the team and played. I'm finally enough, right? I make my family proud and everything along those lines. But the fact of the matter is, external validation is only supposed to teach you the basics. That's it. The basics of how to interact. Everything else is nuanced. You can't blanket everything, in the world. Or I hate all white people. I hate all black people. No, you can't do that. It's nuanced. You got to look. There's a lot of bad people out in the world, white, black, and anything else. External validation is like, if you want to really be with us, you got to believe the same thing. It's like, no. There's too much nuance. And kind of like Mika was saying, we have to go based off of we're human beings, right? We're human beings. Not human doings. We're basing everything off of actions and seeing whether those actions are good or bad. What we should be doing is trying to understand one another, and also understanding ourselves, right?
I got another one right here, right? So how is if you're chasing perfection and you're looking for outside validation, how is not failing? Because failing is a universal thing, right? Everybody fails at one point in your life. It's how you determine it, right? How has chasing perfection held you back, or is it holding you back now? What kind of things do you think that you're going through? Please drop them in the comments or hit us up, because Doc can answer them right now. Because join us every Thursday, usually about 10:15. Once we get set up technically, right? But when you realize that you have everything to gain from failing, that's when you realize a lot of things can happen, right? Oops.
Yeah.
Right. When you fail, as even like for my kids right now, and I look at it this way, right? Because I just want to say, Doc, thank you for our sessions, because we have a lot more. Because when I think of my kids right now, I look at the men they're going to be, the teenagers going to be, and I instill some of the teachings or all of the teachings that we have here on our show, right? Because at the end of the day, what I mold them to be now from Doc's teachings and my insights can have them fail comfortably, right? They can fail and learn from it. They're not going to seek outside validation, including myself, right? They want praise, encouragement, support, guidance. I'm there for them. And that's what you want for your kids, especially if they're not communicating with you or they don't know how to express themselves correctly. Now, when beyond the procrastination and the limiting beliefs, how, as an adult, can you change it in a way so it's not so intrusive with other people?
Well, as changing your limiting beliefs,
correct,
intrusive with other people.
Yeah, because a lot here, this the way the reason why I asked that question, because some people, like even for me, when I changed, people are gonna not like you because you're not the same, right? People are gonna show like you're not being you because they're used to the person that you used to be, right? What are some of the objectivity or the objectives around that so that they can be aware of when they do change those beliefs?
Well, I think the first thing, I can move from external validation.
This man's on point. Feeling is important. Yes, he's on point. Love this man.
I would say the first things first is like since you've already moved away from external validation, what other people think is going to be unimportant, should be unimportant, right? So when they say, "Oh, you changed, you're acting different," I did change. I am acting different. I'm acting in a way that's in accordance with what I believe about myself and what I want to do and where I want to go, right? You clean yourself up from drugs and everything like that, and you start doing things, differently and not want to hang around your old group of friends. Then that's what they do. Oh my gosh, you changed. Yeah, I did change. I don't want to do that anymore. Oh, you're being lame, blah, 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 whatever. That's okay. You're more than welcome to have your opinion. So the first thing is, don't worry about what other people say. If you're changing for the better, right? If you're changing for the better, don't worry about what other people say. Now, the next thing is, though, so that's the cold, callous, hard way to look at it, right? But for those maybe in your inner circle, right? Maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your close friends, maybe it's your family, people that do care about you, they do love you, they want to see the best for you. Then you can let them know, like, hey, listen, these are some of the things that I used to believe. These are things that used to hold me back. These are things I used to believe about myself. And I no longer want to believe that about myself. I want to believe something different. I want to do something better. And so then as a result, these are the things I'm doing, right? So that's why you see the change. So, and ultimately, like, you don't owe anybody an explanation, but the people that are close to us, we should be in conversation with them, right? Because we're close to them. And it's not explaining to, well, please accept it. And if you don't accept it, I'm going to go back to having that limiting belief. It's just saying, hey, this is how I'm moving now. And, hey, I'd love y'all to stick with me. But if not, this is where I'm moving. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Either keep up or you're going to get left behind. And so as far as that's concerned, just making sure that, again, you're not living your life based off of other people's expectations or other people's external validation. You're living it based off of, hey, this is who I am, this is who I want, and this is where I want to be and who I want to be. I'm going to live my life according to that. Then if it means that some people are going to have to get cut off, which I'll tell you guys that's the reality of it. There are some people that will, and I mean, when I say cut off, I don't even necessarily mean like you go and say, oh, well, we're no longer friends. It's just, if you're moving in this direction, then just naturally you're gonna separate. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean the other person, your friend's a bad person. It simply means I'm going here, you're going here, or staying the same. And so that's just life. Now, if you want to keep up, great. Let's jump on the bandwagon. Let's run it off together. But if not, I had I think one of my wife's family members told me one time, she were talking about, she said, if you ever fail, right? If things don't work out, if you try to change, don't worry. Your friends that were under the tree drinking, they'll still be there 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years.
Yeah, true.
Right. So you don't got to worry about it. You don't really lose anything from that. If they weren't doing anything then, they'll still be there doing nothing later on. So you really got to know you're not losing anything, right? So that was something that that always stuck with me.
And your wife was absolutely correct, because even like for some of my friends that's out there, right? It's for me, I really honestly feel sorry for them. And this is why part of this channel is to help them out, because I have a bunch of friends back home that have moved on and did things and everything else. Then you got some that's still doing the same thing. This is 20 years later. Like we did the same thing. I went to prison, came back out, got it. It's 30 years now, if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's like, and it's like, it's just, I don't feel empathetic towards them. I really feel that hopefully, I only pray that one day they see the light and change because of my dedication to this type of thing. Because some people tell me like, Gordon, why do you keep doing this stuff? I said, because I'm either saving lives, helping out somebody else that I don't know of, that I don't need the glory, the attention, everything else. It's just so one day somebody can reflect back to this and help them out, right? Because so much people are just undoing. Look, we just had one at the Rio, right? The lady killed her daughter at a cheer competition and killed herself. Oh, just the other day, Doc. Going through custody battle, right? Jesus. Yeah, it's like they, and then they showed the thing on the news, like, yeah, they're long time custody battle, all this stuff. I hate to say it, but it's like that's so. She was here for a cheer competition. What should her parents going through affect this child that never had the chance? And this is why I do this type of stuff, this shit, because it pains me to even think that can happen, but it does happen, right? Yeah. I mean, it's sad in a sense. I may hope to go off because I was about to go off, so I reined myself in. Even like I try to get your friend Mika up here, but he's rocking his kid to sleep. So I'm like, I get it. Mine just turned 3 and 6 just last week, so we'll get him. I was going to surprise you, but I get it. But Doc, let me ask you this, right? If change doesn't always happen, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times, the way I see change is it's just small incremental events in your life that can either make or break you, right? Mm-hmm. You can tiny consistent shifts, tiny consistent habits, decisions, little mindset tweaks here and there that can ultimately create that bigger picture that's going on. And because how can I tell you this is true? Because I've done it, right? I've done it to the point that this is what when things arise, I'm glad I went through it, right? Because to create a better, stronger life and version of yourself, you have to take all of those things into consideration. Those failures, those pains, those tears, those angry moments, those moments where you sit in the corner and you think, what the frick is going to happen now? That's what makes you you. But some people go backwards, like Doc said. Some people go this way, and you got to either find where you're going to go. Because if you stay in between, you'll be stuck in between for the rest of your life, 20, 30 years from now, right? Yeah. Doc, any closing things you want to get off your chest? Seems like you want to get something going. Doc is about to go off. I'm just letting you. I know the look.
Well, I was looking at the comment, Mika's comment regarding, tragic emotional moments, emotional bookmarks that hold us back emotionally. And I can attest to that, yeah, we do have those moments. I know when I was in second grade, as crazy as it sounds, and it's seemingly small and insignificant, but remember, to a 6-7-year-old, it was everything, right? So I made a joke, and I'll give you the short version. I made a joke. We were in lunch. I was with my friends. I made a joke, and they laughed at it on that day, right? And then so it was like, oh man, again, external validation. Make the joke. It's funny. Great. They like that. They like you. It's a good thing. Make jokes. It's a good thing, right? The next day, I made the same joke. They didn't laugh. Uh-oh. External validation. It wasn't funny. Nobody laughed. Nobody liked it. They don't like you. Opening up is bad. Boom. Emotional moment, right? Emotional bookmark. And from that one thing, one seemingly small, insignificant thing that nobody knew about, it held me back in a tremendous ways later on in life. It can be
Mm.
in sharing certain things, sharing my thoughts, sharing my feelings. That led to nobody cares, right? So unfortunately, that limiting belief is now growing. Nobody cares. And now what am I doing? Now I'm withholding even more things and doing a whole lot more, expecting someone, having covert contracts. And then when it doesn't happen, then it's like reinforcement. Then it's just this cycle. Then it gets worse and worse and worse. So when it comes to limiting beliefs, gentlemen, this isn't just about how much money you can make, or this isn't just about, oh, I want the right body. This could literally be the difference between life or death, because you never know what these things can mutate into if you leave them unchecked, right? You have no idea. So it's important for us to really start looking at these limiting beliefs, the things that keep us back, and start asking ourselves questions like, hey, is this even true? Like, I had to do work on myself with that. I had to self-reflect.
Oh, absolutely.
That one part and say, Ren, you made a joke one day and it was funny. You made a joke the next day and it wasn't funny. It's okay for the joke to not been funny the second day. It says nothing about you. It just wasn't a funny joke anymore. That's it. That's all I needed back then. And that would have saved me decades of issues. But I had to go back and look at that moment, look at that bookmark, that emotional bookmark. I had to pull it out. Like, we're not marking that point anymore. We're done. That was a misunderstanding on my part. And I had to go back to many moments in my life and do the same thing, and kind of pull those things and reframe the event in a way that's, basically what's more real, more of a reality. They didn't stand around and listen. And this is also important to understand. It's not like afterwards these kids started bullying me. It's not like they didn't laugh one day and then they started making fun of me and beating me up and dragging me through the mud. Then you might say, well, Keith, yeah, there was a lot more to it. It was simply a joke that wasn't funny. That's it. And so being able to go back and reframe some of these events, go back to and remind yourself now, this is so important. Remind yourself now that I'm not 6, 7, 8 years old anymore. I know how to handle myself. I know how to protect myself. I know how to articulate myself. I can stand up for myself. I don't have to put up with bad behavior anymore. I don't have to be treated or talked to any kind of way anymore. Once you start recognizing that you're a full-grown elephant, you're not held down by a small stake anymore that was there when you were a child. You can yank that thing up and throw it around and hit someone in the face with it. Like, that's the place you're in now. Whoever abused you or hurt you as a child, that created that helped you create that negative belief or that limiting belief, they don't have power in you anymore. Your parents don't have the power. That bully doesn't have the power. The friends don't have the power. Nobody has that power over you anymore. And once you start believing that, and once you start understanding that, you start shattering all of these limiting beliefs, because you start recognizing, oh, shoot, actually, I do have the capacity to do anything I want to do. I'm not saying everything is going to be easy, but I have the capacity to do it. Some things may take a little bit more planning, a little bit more time, a little more energy. Some things maybe not as much, but whatever I set my mind for it to do, I can do it. Whatever I want to bring to life, I can bring it to life. So it's critical for us to understand that when it comes to it, and you start thinking about going back and reframing these events and these things that happen to you, you have to remember that I am not that child anymore, and I can actually protect that child. That child is safe now. We don't have to explode. We don't have to shut down. We don't have to unalive ourselves. We don't have to do that. I have the skills and the ability to handle these things now and to build the life that I desire.
No, I mean, you said it completely perfectly, because all of us have that little guy in you that always is holding you back, right? That little guy in you with those old beliefs and those old things that you forgot you as an adult, but you still held on to all of those old beliefs, and it manifested into something greater. Once, like Doc said, you have the power to take and give back, right? Everything that's led up, the dreams that you can not abandon your dreams, the buildup of taking your power back, the buildup of becoming the sovereign man, the buildup of getting that confidence so that you don't desperately unalive yourself. Guys, if for the past year, if you haven't seen any of this, of our content or anything else, this is all a buildup to make you a better person in your relationships, in your marriage, in yourself, your relationship with God, your relationship with your boss, and better yet, the one that you don't foresee yet, the one that makes you the better man tomorrow, right? Because Doc, it's like always. Any closing remarks? Oh, what is that? What did Mika say right here? Mika said, uh Mike, comedy creating an opportunity to laugh versus getting laughs. There's a big difference. A very, very big difference. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah. All right, guys. This is our time. Guys, if you want any type of help, you can look Doc up on FCS LLC. Look him up online if you want professional help. And you want to just talk to somebody that might just change the trajectory of your life. If you're looking for coaching from both of us together as a workshop, as a challenge, to be able to business, relationship, marriage, relationship coach, and become the man you're supposed to be when you were born, to the fact that you might be just misguided, head on over to assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com and leave us a comment, guys. We do talk back sometimes. Well, it depends how busy I am. Doc, close it out, Doc.
Well, I'll close it out with what Mika just put. I think it's very appropriate. Right? So,
yes, sir.
We do call them core beliefs, right? This is our operating system from which we operate from and how we view the world, others, and ourselves. And we do need to challenge it, because this is the last thing. This is the last thing. I know we're closing out, but I will say this. Once you eliminate the limiting beliefs, I need you to understand that the beliefs that we hold can still limit us, even if they're not bad, right? But if I've only made, use money as an example, if I've only ever made $200,000 a year, haven't made that, not yet, coming soon. But if I only ever made that, right, then, and I don't believe I can do more, then I will still be limited to that. I have to believe beyond that, and that takes us outside of our comfort zone, and might have to be, and actually, I think next week, Gordon, we'll probably be touching on that, coming outside of our comfort zone and the ways we can go about doing that, because that is how you challenge and upgrade your beliefs. You have to go outside. You have to believe in something bigger, something greater, something that you haven't done before. And so everybody has to get to that point. But first, let's eliminate all these limiting beliefs that are keeping you from at least moving in a positive way right now. Because those limiting beliefs that were created, those are things that are holding you back. But once you have the positive beliefs and the good beliefs that help you, then we can work on expanding and doing better. But that's just, again, you guys come back. We got a whole lot more. We're going to go back. We're going to go into even more detail next week. So y'all need anything, please reach out.
Guys, this is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. Guys, please share, like, comment. We talk back. See you guys next week, 10 o'clock, 10:15 every Thursdays, unless I'm at the doctor's or something. Yep. Guys, aloha. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
You guys take care. Oh, and one last thing, and Mika just said, I just want to bring it up. This also aligns with Scripture. So if you are a man of faith, if you're a Christian, this all aligns with Scripture. Like I said, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Not the removal of it. I like the
removal of it.
All right, y'all. Y'all take care.
Mika,
have a great day. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you for everything. All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.